We've come to a milestone moment in our pathway towards maturity in Christ. We've learned that giving of yourself is one of the key habits of a disciple. And from what I've witnessed, it's one of the easiest ways to observe that someone is maturing in their walk with Christ. You know, when we're children, we want to get. And when we're adults, we want to give. As we progress from children to adults, a shift occurs in our hearts and in our habits. We aren't just thinking of ourselves, we're thinking of others. One of the foundational practices of a disciple happens when it comes to generosity and the practice of tithing. What's tithing? A tithe just means tenth. It's defined as the first 10% of a person's income that's to be given back to the local church. For instance, a tithe of $1 is 10 cents. A tithe of $100 is $10. A tithe of $1,000 is $100. You can calculate your 10% by just multiplying your income by 0.10 on a calculator. Tithing is a principle that's taught throughout the entire Bible. It was present before the law was given. It's mentioned in the law of God. And Jesus even referenced it as a foundational practice. So when we tithe, we are expressing worship in a tangible way by putting God first in our lives. Why? Because money shows us where our affections are. So intentionally giving the first 10% of our income to God through our church is a way to set our affection towards God. At first, this may seem extreme, but it really isn't. You know, when we want a new car, we go to the dealership. And one of the first questions that the car salesman's going to ask is, how much do you want to pay a month? And in a way, we are deciding what percentage of our income do we want to give towards having this car in our lives. We ascribe worth to the car with our answer. Sometimes we may think in our minds that we can afford a certain payment if we cut out other things we don't feel are as important as this car is to us. This is the same type of concept when it comes to the tithe. You will need to wrestle down your ability and desire to return the tithe and what that's going to look like for you. That process is worship. Worship isn't just singing a song, but it's the value that you give to God when you are intentional in your everyday actions. When you respond to God's call to tithe and rearrange your financial priorities to match, you are giving God value in your life and inviting Him into the area of your finances so He can bless them. You know, we often want God to bless us in areas that we've never even given Him access to. It's important to understand that God doesn't need our money. He knows that money is useful. It's a useful resource for His church to make an impact. So He commands that we set aside at least 10% of our income to be given to our church. The way that we say it around here is that we are returning the tithe, not just giving to the church. It's our way of acknowledging that all of our money came from God, and we're just returning 10% to the place that He requested. So as you take this step to begin returning your tithe, we want to help. So we guarantee something. We guarantee that as you practice tithing over the next 90 days, that you will walk in blessing of the Lord. That blessing can look like a lot of things, but we believe you'll know it. If at the end of the 90 days you feel that you have fully tithed, but you don't feel like it was worth it, and you want your money back, we'll give it to you. You can do this. And we are here to cheer you on in your personal disciplines. So you can fill out the 90-day tithe challenge form. Start making plans and adjustments to your habits so that on your next paycheck, you can begin your tithing journey. So here's the amazing thing about this milestone moment that you're about to take. It's just the beginning. Once you've cultivated the habit of tithing, you will see God begin to open up opportunities to take your generosity to the next level. When He sees you through as a faithful conduit through which He can move His resources to the places He wants them to go, get ready. God's heart isn't just to get you to tithe, but He wants to transform your life into one that overflows with generosity. You'll begin to be a part of God answering prayers through your giving. It's an exciting thing to think about. Some people dream about how much money they can make, but disciples dream about how much money they can give away to God's mission. And when you dream like that, you better buckle up, because God has an incredible journey ahead of you. So take your next step in giving. If you don't currently practice tithing, sign up for the 90-day tithe challenge. Sit down, rearrange your budget so that you can accommodate your new vision for your money. And then get started on your next paycheck. After tithing becomes a habit, start looking for ways to be a legacy giver and go above and beyond the tithe. God has an incredible plan for your life, to know Him personally, to find freedom, to discover purpose, and make a difference.